Hello and welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I'm Mark Storrs. With me as always is
Rob motherfucking Morphy.
Oh, and yet again, unfortunately, there is no Chris Carnicelli. He is on the mend, but he sounds like trash. Like absolute
warmed over.
Trash.
Yeah, he's garb. Last week we weren't any picnic. I have to say, I was sick as shit. By the end of the fucking pod that we recorded last week, I pretty much was in a self-induced semi-state of comatoseness for days, surrounded by monster books and fucking NyQuils and whatnots. But even though I'm still a little nasally, I feel a fuck ton better than when we last recorded a week ago. How you doing this week, man?
Yeah, no, actually, I just had a weird throat sinus thing for a little bit. Nothing too major. I think it's just the heat, the humidity, work environment and shit. It's just, I get them occasionally. I wasn't too bad at all. I was actually pretty good. So yes, Christopher is not here with us, but Rob and I are here we're going to actually be kicking it back this episode. We're going to be going back to some cryptids, which we haven't talked about in a little while. But before we get to the monsters, let's do the old Patreon. Patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout out. $5 is a shout out and bonus audio. Robert, do we have some shout outs to do?
Sure as fuck do.
All right,
we're going to start our shout out list with Ashley Powers.
Hell yeah, Ashley. What up?
Mm-hmm. And Kendra.
Shit yeah, Kendra. Thank you.
Wesley Smith.
Oh shit, Wesley. Wes, what up?
Mike Palente, who was kind enough to give us the phonetic spelling of his name, even though I think I might have gotten this one. No, I might have gone Palante or something fucking crazy weird. So Mike Palpatine, thank you, Mike.
I was going to call him Mike the Paladin, but whatever. Like, hey, Mikey the Paladin, what's going on?
Mikey Thank you for your contribution. What's up? Thank you for your contributions there, MP.
Yes. Now, we have a very special shout out that we're going to do here. This is the very rare birthday shout out, but this is someone that was a patron already that we announced last week, but this person is very near and dear to one of our mod admins on our Facebook page. So very happy birthday to Alexandria Close. Oh,
happy motherfucking birthday. Alexandria. Oh, first off, that's a beautiful classical name. I love that name. Phenomenal. Have a great birthday. I know it's going to be past tense by the time you listen to this, but I hope it was grand. I hope it continues well past the actual specific date of your birth, and stay safe, have a ton of fun, and big shout out to Trina as well. But Alexandria, happy birthday. Thank you.
Yeah, she's going to actually get a happy birthday like 2 weeks after the day it was her birthday, because I believe her birthday is today. So she'll be hearing this in 2 weeks. So it's like a little, surprise.
She'll feel a vibration in the force.
Yeah.
Like, a whole planet screamed in terror, and somebody wished me happy birthday.
Yeah, there you go. And obviously, thank you very much, Trina. She's one of our mod admins over
the best.
Facebook page. So, yeah, Trina's fucking dope. Everyone, the mods over there for us is awesome. Check out the Facebook group. It's the only place I go on Facebook, because the rest of Facebook is a
honestly,
garbage pile.
Too, I neglect every other piece of Facebook. I even neglect that, honestly. But if I'm going to go to Facebook, that's what I'm doing there.
Yeah. No, our group's fucking dope. We got a bunch of new people that popped in over there, which is super dope. Also, too, we got to give a very big hello to all of our new listeners. People heard you over on Astonishing Legend there, and then they were like, hey, let's check out this fucking trailer trash version of cryptozoology with Rob Morphy. So fucking there you go.
That's perfect way to put it. No, they're great. I love Astonishing Legends. I love Forrest and Scott. It was great. Micah Hanks was there too. We had a great time talking about the Sandown Ghost Clown, as we mentioned last week. And they're awesome guys. And so anybody that might have migrated over to see what the other half pod's like, welcome. Enjoy both sides. Enjoy the classy and the informative and the substandard, semi-drunken shitbaggery. And you're welcome. Everyone should be well balanced. Everyone should have a yin and yang.
Yeah,
please,
and we are definitely the yin to their yang, as we are. We have our own little way of doing things, and they're very very professional and well put together, and have excellent voices too.
Oh, they do.
Not that you don't, but me and Chris definitely don't.
Oh, so, you guys sound just fine. I love listening to you too.
But yeah, no. So hello to all the new listeners that came over from Astonishing Legends. Welcome to the show. And yeah, like we said, this week we are going back to cryptozoology. Robert and I were going to put on our crypto boots and our crypto hats and our crypto coats and get in the crypto truck.
Oh my
and go
God.
Talk about the Mississippi Monster.
I didn't know we had a crypto truck. First off, I hope it's got sweet decals.
No, dude, it's my bighorn is the fucking crypto truck, dude.
Dude, you know what you should get? You should get like an airbrush version of that awesome portrait of us that Rolf did right across the hood going up. I'm sure your wife would really appreciate that.
I mean, it's a lease, so I got to trade it in 3 years. So I don't
somebody
think
else is going to be graced with beautiful art.
It would actually increase the value of the truck. So yeah, welcome to the Mississippi Monster. That's what we're calling this.
Is even
right,
rarer. It's not what we're calling it specifically. It is, and I'm going to go directly to the source. It is what the St. Louis Globe and Democrat named it in their article from October 1877, October 5th to be specific, page 5, if anyone's counting. So where we got this story originally, and this is where we're going to give a shout out. But before I do that, this is one of the first times I think we're doing a follow-up on a story we've actually done. I know we've promised it a billion times. I know I gave the shout out to our listeners to please help me remember all the times I said, A, we're going to do a follow-up, and B, we're going to do this thing that's brand new that we're just mentioning peripherally. But in terms of follow-ups, this might be among our first, and it's not a follow-up, it's a prequel. We already did a story called The Cahokia Dragon versus the Brindle Bull, wherein young 12-year-old John Smith, the son of a pastor, was sent out to a field to check on his dad's Brindle Bull. And when he got out there, a crocodilian winged, scorpion-tailed, or no, it was hammer-tailed, I think, dragon thing came down, and it was like a sweet kaiju battle in the late 1800s in, just off the Mississippi River. So what this is, at least speculated by those reporters that were covering it for the St. Louis Globe, because that was the first newspaper, the St. Louis Globe and Democrat, that was the first newspaper that actually covered these events. They suggested that this series of events, which happened actually on the Mississippi River, hence the Mississippi Monster, involved the same animal or something very similar to what attacked the bull a week later or so. So
nice. And actually, this is coming to us from our buddy, Mr. Adam Benedict over there at the Pine Barrens Institute. This is from his book. This is called, his book is Monsters in Print, a collection of curious creatures mostly known from newspapers. This book is available right now on Amazon, and there will be a link in the show notes to this book. Get this book.
Yeah, we've talked it up in the past.
Awesome. It's a great collection of just really bizarre shit from newspapers from back in the day. It's super cool. Check it out. Adam's such a great dude. Check out his website. It is at pinebarrensinstitute.com. He's an awesome researcher. Also, too, for those of you that might not know, Adam has another book coming out.
What?
Oh, in October of 2020. Be on the lookout for Ghosts in Print, an assemblage of spirits, spooks, and specters from newspapers of old. So Adam is getting the double whammy here. I mean, he has the monster book. Now he's got the ghost book coming out. So fucking hell yeah, Adam. I am stoked to check that book out. I love Monsters in Print. So be sure to grab that book on Amazon. Check it out. So,
dare we anticipate aliens in print, Adam? I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering. I'm just saying, just in case, you need another project on the horizon. You probably don't. You have a family to take care of, and you're prolific enough. We can barely juggle like 2 chores between the 3 of us, and you're doing all sorts of ill shit. But that having been said, boy, if you could like collect things from like the Aurora, Texas alien. Hey, I'm just saying, for the future, it's for the kids. The post-pandemic kids.
If you're gonna put Adam in a corner, I don't know if that's the kind of podcast we are, but okay.
Baby Adam in a corner.
Oh, little adorable baby Adam Benedict with it'd be adorable. That's so cute. And he's got his little books with him and shit, and he's reading. And then he's getting mad at me when I tell him that Bigfoot's an interdimensional being that comes through a portal. And he's like, "No, Mark, you're wrong.
That's stupid."
Adam's the best. Seriously, he's fucking such a great dude. So shout outs to Adam. This, as we said, the Mississippi Monster. This is coming from his book. So Robert, let's talk about the Mississippi Monster.
Oh, let me open Adam's book to page 66, if I may. May I?
Oh, awesome. you know what? The readers, if they have the book, they can follow along with us. Ooh,
oh my gosh, that's even more exciting. But I am going to actually start with he took the article from the Chicago Daily Tribune, October 7th, 1877, which is just 2 days after it was first published in the St. Louis Globe-Democrat. So I'm going to read the subheadings because this is from the actual original article, which aren't in the book, but it's irrelevant because the whole article is. And it's that golden era of semi-journalism where there was a title and like 17 subheadings. And I'm going to continue to read these subheadings right now to give you the flavor of what's about to happen. The first subheading, an extraordinary story concerning the river Leviathan. Number 2.
I mean, that's awesome. I'm in.
Yeah, okay. No, it's extraordinary, and there's a river Leviathan. You have me. You have me hook, line, and sinker. You
river Leviathan here. Come see the Leviathan of the river. Bring him on down now.
A furious attack on a towboat and a fleet of barges. What?
Yeah, it sounds cool, but not nearly as cool as the river Leviathan.
Furious attack ranks right up there. Now, granted, you need to establish that it's a river Leviathan. If it starts with furious attack, you think it's Mississippi pirates, which I'm sure there must have been, but I'm not like an expert.
The old Mississippi pirates here.
Everything's going to be old-timey boxing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
One of the most terrific and thrilling spectacles ever witnessed. That could be a boxing match. That could be.
The World's Fair.
Yeah, no, you're right. It could be the World's Fair. It could be Ali Frazier. It could be all sorts of ill shit.
All right.
A reptile that rivals the horrid creatures of fable and fiction.
Oh, now that's kind of cool.
That brings it back home. Suddenly you're like, what? Right. Fable and
we got
fiction?
Reptiles. Oh, shit. And we got reptiles. Oh, no. They scare me. No, they really do. So, all right.
Well, reptiles are scary. I mean, a lot of them are venomous. You don't want to touch a Gila monster, pretty though they may be, orange and black with their Halloween colors. Also, it's illegal.
I have a really, really, really deep fear of like snakes and shit like that. You know that. I don't fuck with them. I do know that. Near them.
Snakes don't bother me in like the least. I actually caught a garter snake. Well, I don't actually know. I'm not a fucking herpetologist. But I caught what I hope is a non-venomous snake outside of my sister's house the other day and showed it to my nephew. And it was about maybe 2.5 feet long. And it's cute. You know what skeeves me out? I'm not terrified of them. In fact, when I see a spider in my home, I'm like, you eat the bugs, leave me the fuck alone, and we have a perfect truce. You do your thing, I do my thing. But I don't love them. Like if they're crawling on me with their extraordinary amount of legs and their scuttling speed and their ability to hop and the fact that they're all venomous, they do die. I mean, I always wish them a better next life because that's the little Buddha in me, but I still have to murder them like forthwith.
All right, reptiles don't show your nephew snakes. You're just inviting the devil. Continue, Robert.
All right. Now we're going to go to Mr. Benedict's book. And again, the St. Louis Globe and Democrat, October 5th, 1877. Mr. Robert Matheson, a well-known businessman of St. Louis, whose residence is, I love it when they fucking out these people, and it won't matter now. I mean, it's literally 140 years ago plus. His residence is 2334 Olive Street, arrived in the city last night by rail from Memphis at a late hour, called at the Globe Democrat office and gave to the reporter a startling account of the recent exploits of the river monster, which has created such an excitement during the last 2 weeks among the denizens of the lower Mississippi. So this is a whole spate. Maybe it's even more than the Brindle Bull in this. Maybe it's a whole cavalcade of fucking shit that I hope Adam unearths, because good Lord knows we're not going to do the research. But geez.
This thing was just having a weekend. It was like, look, man, I'm here. I'm in the fucking lower Mississippi. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to fucking fight bulls, swim in the river, whatever.
I'm going to torment barges in what, quote unquote, was a furious attack.
Yeah, it's like spring break for this thing, man. Good for it. It's getting out. It's living its best life. Good for this Mississippi monster.
Absolutely. Okay. Mr. Matheson's narrative, and there seems to be no doubt of its literal truthfulness, is substantially as follows. I know when you say that, that makes me go, huh.
He's not a liar, you see. He's not been known to lie ever, except all the time.
All right, hold on. My lungs are still recovering. I'm doing this. Okay. literal truthfulness is substantially as follows. Friday afternoon at a late hour, the sun being about a half hour high. I don't know how to tell time in 1877 language.
How do you tell time by the sun? I'm sure people do, but I don't believe in that kind of shit. It's like people that use military time. Grow up.
Oh, my God. I know.
Come on.
Flip the clock. We start at 1 again. All right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking to my wife. She's not listening, but I'm talking to her because she does military time because she's a nurse, and it pisses me off because I got to do math. Anyway, I'm sorry. Digression aside, continue.
And the sky and air unusually clear. It was the add-on there. Captain John Carraway of the towboat B-Wing. Oh, that's adorable.
Dude, if I had to work on a towboat, Jedi?
Is there a B-Wing?
Yes, there's a B-Wing. Holy shit. They're bombers.
Well, this is not the letter B, though. This is the literal fluttering insect that pollinates and honey-ates and whatever. Yeah, honey-ates is a word that happened out loud in public.
All right, whatever.
Okay, all right. So we're on the B-Wing. Now I got to find. This is going to be a little more challenging because I'm reading from a book. So whenever I look away like an idiot, I have to recapture the moment here. B-Wing, having towed 6 heavily loaded coal barges of the well-known Brown Barge and Transportation Company of Pittsburgh, full details, was passing a point on the river just above the village landing known as Bradley's, 5 miles below Devil's Elbow Cutoff.
Oh, dope. Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. The fucking Devil's Elbow, like the worst part of the bay that nobody gives a shit about, unless you're dropping it on someone's head from the top rope. Oh, shit. Devil's
Backs
Elbow.
And sides. Too much.
Yeah.
And about 15 miles above Memphis, so you know where Devil's Elbow is.
Yeah.
When his attention was directed to a loud puffing noise, me breathing in the microphone, clearly.
Thank you for those reviews.
At considerable distance up the river. At first he thought it was the roaring of a broken scape pipe. I do not know what that is, or the wheezing of a disordered engine. But seeing no smoke and having no reason to believe that there was no steam craft within hearing distance. All right, a little double negative, I'm with it. Below or above, he very shortly came to the conclusion that the sounds emanated from another source. Deductive reasoning. That's what separates us from the chimps and the bonobos. That kind of fucking calculus there.
We have thumbs, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have fucking thumbs. Jesus, dude, look at a monkey's hand. Well, they're not monkeys. Look at an ape's hand. Yes, they have fucking thumbs, dude.
Whatever. This is more of your fake news. I don't want to hear about it. Continue.
Tell me what a skate pipe is and we can be friends again.
I mean, I'm assuming it's a pipe on the boat. I'm going to 5% with the engine. Maybe it could be like the exhaust pipe.
5 minutes passed. And the noise continued to be heard at brief intervals, and evidently getting closer. From the deck of the towboat, a view could be had for 1,000 yards up the river, a gradual bend commencing at the distance. The sun was almost dipping below the western horizon when, around this bend, there rose to view the writing form of a terrific monster. Terrific. That's a word that, again, not since like 70s game shows and maybe softcore porn, though I'm not an expert in either and have enjoyed both, is the word terrific been used so substantially. Like that is a word that has died. Like I can't remember the last time I said, oh, you got to see this movie. It's terrific. I haven't seen or said that in forever.
Yeah, no, neither. No. And I got to figure out a way to walk back my comment about the thumbs because it just dawned on me how dumb I sound.
No, it's all right. Thumb free in 93, man.
No, I just realized, I'm thinking about chickens. Chickens don't have thumbs. Oh,
primates and chickens. Yeah. We always confuse them. That's our deal.
Fine, whatever. You know what? Other things in us have thumbs, but besides that, we're dealing with a terrific beast right now.
Yes, we
are.
So
what does it do?
Terrific beastie was darting impetuously. It's a little presumptive. You don't know how it might be darting with great caution for all you know.
Maybe it has hubris.
Down the river. When first seen, the Leviathan seemed more like an immense uprooted tree. Oh, skeptics will love that. Just a tree down the Mississippi. Well, skeptics, I'll tell you in advance, you can eat it because trees don't do what this thing will do. All right? You're fucking uprooted trees. It's not a fucking octoman. It's a fucking fuck you. It's indescribable. It's an octoman.
It's a tree. Tell me about this tree, Robert, please.
Floating in a semi-perpendicular position along, as I said, the mid-channel. As it neared, however, its horrid proportions became manifest. Oh, I love that sentence. Ooh. The hideousness of this aquatic monstrosity is stated by Captain Carraway to be beyond the power of description. Yeah, another indescribable cryptid. Wow.
Beyond the power of description, you see here, we got the ladder boys with the ladders coming to help you out with all your ladder needs. Get them now while they're hot.
Are we plugging? Are we endorsed by ladders now?
No, it's a thing I do at work whenever we have to carry ladders because we carry ladders constantly. So I'm like, hey, get your ladder boys here. Ladders, get them out of the hot. Bring us some ladders.
Anyway, I love it. Your red hot ladder language is really doing it for me.
Yeah. But I vape way too much weed, so help me.
That's awesome. God bless you.
I need
Don't use vitamin E. Your lungs will thank you. That having been said, like many indescribable monsters, this one is henceforth described. So we'll get into this right now. Right. Its immense pelican bill. Enjoy that.
Oh,
now the pelican. Again, we suck. We suck at zoology, but fucking and certainly even ornithology. Is that the one with the big dip that holds the fucking fish? Like it's got the bucket on the bottom.
I believe so, but I'm not good with birds.
I think it is.
They don't have thumbs, but I'm not good with birds.
All right, so you've got that on lockdown. All right, so someone will help us with this. I think it's got like the gullet beak where it just like uses it as a net, scoops up fish and swallows.
Which is dope. It's a sweet.
I mean, you could Google it while I'm continuing to read, and then we'll know for sure.
Grab my phone, yeah.
Okay, so its immense pelican bill, from 5 to 10 feet in fucking length.
Whoa, that's a big ass fucking holy shit.
Attached to the gigantic bulldog head.
Oh shit.
And the mammoth slimy neck upreared high in the air, the vast tail thrashing the water in fury, and the enormous fins, also 10 feet in length, sending out waves like the roll of a flying boat. The frequent dipping of the monstrous beak into the water and spouting huge streams 40 feet high in oblique directions, and the deep cavernous roars all came thundering along at the briefest intervals.
Damn.
What the fuck are we dealing with here?
Yeah, okay, bulldog I can confirm. Face. Yeah, with a pelican beak, and yes, the pelican is what we thought that it was. I'm not sure what else we thought. I mean, a possible heron or heron. We can't. A heron. So yeah, no, that is a pelican.
Sorry,
so
Eddie, all right, I will learn to say that word. It's constantly infuriating. I don't blame you.
You're being very vague. I understand. So
eat it. I say that one word right.
Every time you said vague on Astonishing Legends, I'm like, why won't someone call him out on it?
Because I never once said it on Astonishing Legends because I do not say that.
Anyway,
you son of a. All right, listen. So we've got a bulldog head with a pelican beak, a mammoth slimy neck, and then 10-foot fucking fins that are slapping around. On top of it, roars. Birds don't roar.
No, this thing's fucking enormous. If its fins are 10 feet on either, now are we talking? So we're talking on the back, right? Back fins, or are we talking like on the side?
I assumed that it was side, and creating the waves that they were comparing to.
Right. Well, that's what I was thinking,
sending out waves
too.
Like the roll of a flying. Yeah, so it has to be on the side because how could back fins send out waves like that?
So this thing's fins from, I'm not sure about the size of the body, but we're talking 20 feet.
Not counting the body.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you got to assume
fins
the body
alone. Yeah, is huge. Yeah.
Well, I mean, think of like a sea turtle. They've got huge fins, but the length of the plasterin, the bottom part of their body, is longer than either of their fins by at least a nominal amount. So it would be like a 12-foot body by 10 feet on each side, maybe?
I mean, the fins would have to be proportionate enough to move the creature. So
yes, and if you have fins that big, you got to have some bulk worthy of moving. Because whale fins aren't that mammoth compared to the size of their bodies.
Right. No, they're not.
Or porpoise.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, so this thing's just splashing around the Mississippi.
It's the bull. I'm going to get to it, but the bulldog head with the pelican beak attached to the long slimy neck. The fuck. Seriously,
we have heard. I mean, obviously, with the Brindle bull and the Cahokia dragon, we have heard about that. But there are other creatures that are described as having bulldog heads, which is kind of funny that was like the default, like head of a bulldog, fucking Bill the Pelican.
That's incongruent.
Strange.
I think some of the ones in Australia, I don't know. Don't quote me, but maybe the Euroa beast, and other weird semi-mammalian creatures that have obviously been associated, at least tacitly, with bunyip legends, have had bulldog-type faces or canine faces, wrinkly, punched in. It doesn't take much to give the impression of a bulldog, but beyond the giant beak of a pelican to even recognize a face that looks bulldogish.
Yeah.
All right, this is
weird.
We'll just leave it at this. Okay. All these features, that is, all these formed an infernal panorama that made the blood of the tow captain and his affrighted crew run cold, as it should, and their very hairs to stand on end. The monster was in the exact wake of the boat and barges, but it traveled with such tremendous velocity that turning out of course was impossible. It was believed that its locomotion was at least 20 miles an hour, and in 1877, that's like NASCAR speed. That's like dumb.
It's moving 20 miles an hour
in water.
The water?
Yeah.
Dude, that thing's it's like a fucking that thing is jetting water-wise.
Oh, totally.
All right. That's fast as shit. Cool.
And Captain Caraway at once realized that if the ponderous body with its irresistible momentum should strike his fragile vessel, the boat would capsize in an instant or be shattered to splinters. Reasonable. And he's a captain. Yeah. He's got to worry about this shit. He's got a crew. Totally. He's got cargo. He's got a boat that is his probably, and he can't fuck around. He was making 8 miles an hour. Oh, so 20 to 8. That's not good.
Starboard bow, 8 miles an hour. Slow down.
Hey, Caraway, he's up there. There's other boats on this river here. That's exactly how all riverboat captains talk
in Mississippi. Yeah. Listen here, Mario 100%. Andretti of the Mississippi. Calm down. Calm yourself.
He was Southern. He didn't speak anything like that. That is Italian bias, sir.
Mario Andretti was not Southern.
Oh, he wasn't?
Mario Andretti? I guess we're both talking on a school here with our Mario Andretti.
Yeah, wasn't he a race car driver?
No one knows that reference. He was a race car driver. Yeah, he was a race car driver. Anyway, we don't know.
You know what?
NASCAR.
We're idiots. We're complete idiots.
He very well could be from Kentucky. We don't know. But what I'm wondering though is, okay, I don't really know the geography of the Mississippi. I'm assuming
it goes north to south or south to north.
Well, I know that. But
it splits the country near in half. I'm just helping you.
How wide is it though?
It's pretty fucking wide. I mean, it's a substantial river. I've never
seen it. Okay, all right.
You know what it is? It's America's Nile. Okay. Mario Andretti and our ignorance about him and his career and his illustrious credentials aside, boats going 8 miles per hour, monsters going 20 miles per hour. Captain Caraway is worried about fucking getting splintered up or fucked up. And here's where we are. On the monster rushed, roaring with deafening effect, spouting from his horrid bill 2 streams of water that shot 40 feet into the air and fell in torrents into the river on either side. So at first when I heard a spout, I was thinking mammalian, and obviously the bulldog face, though the bill would deny that, and the flippers. Right. Even though obviously some mammals have flippers. But now it seems like it's just squirting water out of the nostrils of its bill, basically doing a fucking Bellagio fucking fountain display in the middle of the Mississippi on either side.
Could be a water weapon. You never know.
Oh, well, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
The serpentine body swayed tortuously with frightful rapidity through the muddy waters, while the prodigious foreparts of the colossal reptile, that's an interesting note, rose and sunk and swayed like a Stygian horror from the blackest depths.
Yes, the Stygian horror.
Oh, it's so metal. That's the most metal. Oh, good for you. Good for you, writer that I don't know the name of. Threatening to swallow and devour all that came within its reach. When within 150 or 200 yards, the horrid reptile, as if it had discovered an obstacle in its track, slackened its precipitate pace and for an instant paused to contemplate the nature of the obstruction.
Oh, it stopped and took notice, I think. It was
knows?
The fuck
but
are you?
Something was in its way, so it's onslaught was halted briefly. With a tremendous snort so loud and deep and sonorous that it gave the boat a tremulous motion, the huge creature came to a dead stop, and with its monstrous bill, head, and neck reared perpendicularly, seemed like a watery demon rising from the bosom of the deep. Oh, I should have been a reporter in the late 1800s. I clearly missed I'm a man out of time. I missed my calling. This is the shit. This is beautiful.
Yeah, your writing style would have fit in perfectly. There you go.
Here, Captain Caraway, despite the terror that had necessarily taken possession of him, obtained a good view of the monster, at least the parts that were above the water, good note. And his description of the horrible spectacle is sufficiently minute and accurate to deserve reproduction. Caraway alleges that there is no doubt the monster has a pelican-shaped bill, but that is length. But that is length, which has therefore been described as being 5 foot long. Didn't they say 10 earlier? I mean, I know I could just go back to the other page, but all right. So it's a 5 foot bill, still fucking monstrous.
Still big, yeah.
Oh, which has heretofore been described as being 5 foot long, will measure at least 10 feet. All right. So maybe the reporter got like some supposition from a crew member that it was 5 foot long, but the captain clarified it's 10 feet, which again doesn't help. That's still literally Leviathan-esque.
That's still huge. Yeah.
It's too big. It appeared more like an immense horn than a beak, and in shape was much like the pointed sword of a spearfish, though larger and longer, and decidedly more formidable as a weapon of offensive warfare.
Oh, like a weird face narwhal.
Yeah, all right. Weird. So now, first off, I have to question if anyone knew what a pelican looked like then. Now, granted, we weren't sure in 2020, so I'm not holding it against 1877. They didn't have a Britannica, much less a fucking internet.
Dude, we're not boat people, man. When's the last boat you were on?
It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't fuck with boats, man.
We're in a landlocked part of our state. Granted, surrounded by
next to a lake.
Yes, but it's landlocked. I mean, we're not fucking ocean going.
No, but there's boats everywhere. But there's a marina down the street from me, for Christ's sakes. But I still don't fuck with boats. It's not my shit. I wasn't meant to be on a boat, man.
We are not Navy men. We were not merchant marines. That was not our strong suit. All right, so our ignorance of fucking pelican bills aside, I don't know how one fucking confuses the long, bony protrusion or cartilage protrusion of a fucking marlin with a pelican bill, which is decidedly unlike that, unless it had a deep pocket below and a super long horn-like protrusion on top, in which case then it would be a combination thereof.
Yeah, but it's all long face shit, so I can,
a pelican is deep face shit, not long.
Okay, well, they were scared. They were going 8 miles an hour. This thing was doing 20. It was booking. It was huffing water everywhere. It's got huge fins. They're on the Mississippi. People could identify shit.
Oh yeah, I'm not holding it against him.
Maybe
as a guy that intends to draw this at some point, I just need to get my head around this motherfucker.
I'll send him an email. Ask him what the fuck's up.
Yeah, no, Captain Caraway, circa 1877, Lower Mississippi. Elaborate, fucker. Yeah, that'll do. Okay.
Exactly.
It was through this bill that the monster spouted water. The water was being thrown from a point near the head. Captain Caraway, who is an old whaler, stated that the spouting, unlike that of a whale, which throws its stream upward in a straight column, was made in oblique directions, and that the volume of water spouted and the height reached was twice as great as that thrown by a whale. All right, so I guess that indicates super duper lung capacity.
Right, and this guy obviously knows his shit coming from the point of being a former whaler, which makes me think that he would indeed know what a fucking pelican looks like.
Yeah, no, definitely. More than that. I mean, Captain Carraway, a former whaler. All right, first off, we can all acknowledge the shittiest occupation. One of those great jobs that I'm so glad became fucking extinct in the march of progress because, whale oil fat powering the gross. Fucking lamps that were eventually going to burn your house down can go suck it. Thank you, fucking Tesla and the electric revolution. Yeah, Edison, eat it. I'm a Tesla man. That's how it goes.
No, I am too, actually.
But that having been said, a man that is familiar with the size, shape, and general demeanor and spouting distance of whales and presumably a lot of other marine life is even more effective, I think, at discerning just how fucking weird this is. Though I suppose even a layman like us, if we saw a bulldog-faced pelican beak, swordfish fucking nasal passaged entity, we'd be like, the fuck is going on? But this, if anything, just makes Carraway seem even more impressive as an eyewitness.
Totally.
The head is described as having been 4 to 5 feet across. Massive.
That's huge.
Black and shining, and its shape bearing a close resemblance to that of a bulldog. Captain Carraway thinks the animal bore on its head 2 short horns, but of this he is not certain, as the time for observation was very short. There could be no doubt, however, as to the canine shape of the head and of the phenomenal circumstance that to this dog's head was attached a bill or beak, fashioned like that of a pelican. Again, perplexing, but we're just going to go with it. The neck appears to be 10 or 12 feet in length, narrow and serpentine and swaying and writing with emotion. I would have thought writhing. Maybe it's a misprint. I don't know. With a motion like that of a snake poised in water. The sides and under proportions of the neck were evidently covered with burnished scales of changeable hue. But from the top of the neck, there grew what had the appearance of a mane resembling that of a horse, being thick and shiny and of a greenish tint. The mane reached from the base of the head to the body and depended from the neck in long strands. Now, that is a super common descriptor of both early lake monster sightings, certainly kelpie, each usage. I know I don't say Scottish words right, tarb usage, all these basically, water bull, water horse, the things that we find in the British Isles, particularly the Scottish Highlands.
That word, like the weird serpentine neck connected to the head. That's very
even
common.
Nessie. Some early descriptions have the mane, and so it's common in lake monsters, but it's also fairly common in sea monster reports from the days before automated sea travel, before diesel and whatnot. So I find that interesting. So it's got the mane, it's got the beak, possibly 2 short horns. Again, something that was also associated with Nessie for the longest time and other animals of its ilk.
And that really weird goofy neck. The neck never makes any sense to me because it's long. So it's got like a Nessie neck, but then the end's a bulldog head with a fucking a narwhal, horn, or a fucking a bill,
or a marlin spike that tapers into a pelican
it has a
beak.
It has like a giant lance basically for a face, but that neck always kind of throws me because it's
4 or 5 feet long. So even though the neck might be narrow, one of the things that I've always found interesting about a lot of Nessie reports, obviously Nessie being my jam, is that the head is often described as not being substantially larger than the neck, and that the neck seems to taper out into a nub. Some people describe a sheep's head, a horse head, a seal, other things, or a serpent even. But no,
this thing has
small.
This thing has like a smaller neck that goes to a larger head with a fuck all for a face.
Exactly. So, it's just
and a mane
disconcerting. All right.
Uncomfortable.
In a lot of ways. On the back, there appeared to be a dorsal fin 15 or 20 feet in length.
Jesus, this thing's fucking huge.
Featuring along the back and perhaps 3 or 4 feet in height. So a long tapering, but still a 4 foot high. That's first off, if you see that in the Mississippi, you got to be like, the fuck. I mean,
this thing is taking up a good portion. It's got to be taking up a good portion of the river. Like, this thing's huge. So
I need more bourbon. It's too much. The body, being sunk in the water, however, could not be seen. And Captain Carraway says he may be mistaken as to the dorsal fin, and only describes it as it appeared to him during the momentary opportunity he had for observation, which we should remember was when it paused for this unseen underwater obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
The side fins were of monstrous proportions, extending 15 feet on either side. Oh, well, that's fucking just too much. And while the monster paused, they rose and dipped back into the water rapidly, throwing immense waves in a forward direction. The monster by this means poising and steadying himself with the current. This attitude was maintained not longer than 3 or 4 minutes, and the distance being nearly or not quite 100 yards. Captain Carraway's description is necessarily imperfect, but in the main, it is undoubtedly accurate, as it agrees almost exactly with the description which has heretofore been given of the monster by persons who have seen him wading in the shallow water or outstretched on the sandbars. What, we have fucking land sightings?
Yeah, it's in the shallow part of the pool. Like, it's just kind of like hanging out in the kids section but the size of this thing, I mean, that's a huge fucking shallow section that this thing will be hanging out in, like on a river. Again, I don't know the mighty Mississippi, never been there, never seen it, but I'm assuming the size of this thing, if it's going to get to a sand barge or to a nice, like a beach area, like it's got to be this thing is enormous. And originally they said that. Well, originally it was that they were 10 feet. Now they're 15 feet, which 5 feet, I get it, whatever. But you're talking 20 to 30 foot fucking fins, like, span total, including the 5 foot head. So this thing, honestly, man, this thing could be 50 feet wide total. No, there's nothing on the body saying how thick the body is.
Oh, it almost certainly has to be if it's got 15 foot flippers. But
yeah, I mean, it's enormous.
As was indicated, I don't remember the specific phrase, but it is obviously by necessity, not strictly speaking 100% accurate. I mean, 100 yards away by an experienced whaler, you take that not with a grain of salt. Captain Carraway, if he's being honest in his assertions, it definitely is a pretty good judge, probably because he saw whales far away and then they brought them in and then he knew how big they actually were. And after years of doing that, you are pretty good at assessing the size of things at a distance.
We haven't taken the tree off the table yet, but let's continue to see what happens next.
Oh no, I'm not taking anything off the table, the least of which Satan. But fucking, what I am saying is that in terms of maritime eyewitnesses, you could do worse than this guy. And
totally.
So differences of 5
us,
feet,
so.
I'm not super concerned about. Okay.
No, I'm just putting it out there.
Suddenly, the immense head and neck disappeared under the water with a lashing sound that could have been heard half a mile down the river. For a few moments, nothing was seen of the monster, but it was quickly discovered that he was making in direct course for the towboat and the barges. So whatever the obstacle, he's in there like swimwear. He's coming for it.
He's going to pull a Titanic on us.
His track was indicated by a roiling, pointed wave that came rushing forward like water impelled by a great submarine upheaval.
Okay.
I know that there was a submarine built for, I think they mean submarine literally as in below water, but I know there was a submarine used at least a little bit in the Civil War. So the concept of a submersible vehicle is not unknown in 1877. But
this is going full Titanic. Is what it's doing.
Well, it's going full fucking Peter
Berg
Benchley Jaws. It's going like this is written like great fiction, to be honest. I mean, it's there. Well, it stops. You get a good look at its monstrous visage. It dives under the water, and then you see this rolling wave. Kind of like what, like Roland Emmerich employed in his abortion of a Godzilla film fucking in 1997. But at least that was an effective scene as that giant wave came careening towards the pier in New York City. If the rest of the film was a living shit show, I'm not going to digress any further.
Matthew Broderick nailed it.
Oh my God. Jeez Louise, that fucking guy. If he ended it in the 80s, he would have done himself a service.
Listen, if it had Sarah Jessica Parker, it would have been fine. Now stop. Continue. Continue.
There was great excitement on board. No shit.
Yeah, like, fuck this boat, we're done. Fucking bail.
Oh, but you can't bail, because if you bail, you're in the water. It's one of those things where you gotta stay by your fucking boat because you're fucked.
No, you don't,
otherwise.
dude. You
don't swim with that thing in the water.
You pull a Greg Louganis and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, if you're Greg fucking Louganis, good for you, or Michael Phelps, but the rest of us are your fucking floating chum.
It's true, I guess, yeah. And actually, Louganis was a diver. Shit, so you don't want to do that.
Yeah, he would have gone in quick, but then fucked.
Yeah, so I guess maybe, yeah, all right. Well, you know what? He was a great Olympic athlete, so there you go.
In the grand understatement, there was great excitement on board. And the captain and hands were all on deck, all hands on fucking deck, looking with terror upon the extraordinary spectacle. A young German named Henry Decker was on the coal barge lashed to the right of the towboat. And it was under this barge that the monster plowed its irresistible way. First came a violent shock, and then the barge was thrown with tremendous force above the surface of the water and almost careened, the rear end being hoisted 20 feet into the air, half of the cargo of coal being hurled into the river.
Oh, man, you polluted the fucking river. Holy
and
shit,
along with it, the man, Henry Decker. So poor fucking Henry Decker. Like, this rat bastard is just trying to man the coal barge, do his fucking thing, and suddenly he ends up ass over tea kettle in the water with fucking an unfathomable hellspawn.
Yeah, not good.
Which, granted, cannot be indigenous to the Mississippi, but it does open up into the ocean, so we'll deal with that in a minute.
Well, possibility.
The lashings by which the barge was secured to the towboat were snapped, and the shock was so sudden and strong that the towboat itself was almost lifted clear out of the water. Oh, man. In a moment, the monster reappeared in front of the fleet and turning its body so as to face the barge as it passed under, again reared its body, suddenly dived into the water and made for the boats. All right, so this thing does not like this fucking, this cavalcade of barges and the one.
No, not at all. Apparently it's fucking gonna go face to face with these fucking things, dude.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was a fortunate circumstance that the barge had become detached from the towboat, for it seems to be a special object of aversion to the Leviathan. For he attacked it with a fury that was terrible to behold. Fucking perfect language. Beautiful language. Terrifying moment. Beautiful language. First he dove into the sides with his huge beak, lifting it almost entirely out of the water and sending it 50 feet away. Then he lashed it with his tail, the blows resounding with deafening effect, while in the meantime the air was made hideous with successive roars and harsh, loud bellows. A second time he made an assault with his beak, striking it fairly in the gunwales, and was sending it scudding 100 feet down the river. What kind of fucking blow sends a coal barge 100 feet down the fucking river?
A very powerful one.
Well said. This last attack seemed to satisfy the monster, for with a howl, he suddenly sunk beneath the surface and shot down the channel, going at a speed which Captain Caraway affirms must have reached 40 miles an hour. As he moved away, no part of the body was visible, but the pointed wave that rolled before showed its course, while in its wake the waters rushed like those of a mill dam, suddenly let loose. So that's a fucking hell of a surge. In 2 minutes, he was out of sight. In the meantime, Henry Decker, the hand who was precipitated from the barge, swam to another barge and clambered safely up the sides, with no greater damage than a thorough drenching and a slight contusion on the head, made by a falling piece of coal. These details are pretty extreme. Like, I'm not saying they can't be fictionalized. I'm not saying that there wasn't elements of yellow journalism, but I am saying that is a pretty spot-on detail. The engine had been stopped when the first shot came. It was put in motion as soon as it was apparent the danger had passed, and Captain Caraway set about securing the detached barge. By the time he reached it, it was 300 yards downriver, and in a sinking condition. Okay. Well, it took a lot of damage. I mean, it got 2 beak hits, some thrashing. The front end was already sunk, and the stern was raised 10 feet above the water. As the towboat approached the wreck, swung around, and a close view showed that the bottom had been ripped in a half dozen places. The portions of the gunwale still out of the water were split and splintered as if an axe had been used to cut and tear the pieces. At one point, the gunwale, I don't know, I'm not an expert on these words. I'm going to stick with it. Gunwale was torn off the entire depth. As the towboat floated against the wreck, one of the hands called Captain Caraway's attention to a strange object that protruded from the rear end of the boat. It had the appearance of a huge splinter, but its appearance was so singular that Captain Caraway's curiosity was aroused, and he steamed immediately by the object in order to see what it was. Upon a close view, it was discovered that it was nothing more or less than a piece of the monster's bill, which had been splintered off and left in the gunwale of the boat.
Oh, shit.
That's the thing we like to call evidence.
A little bit of evidence. All right.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Cool.
An effort was made to pull the splinter out, but this undertaking was found too difficult to accomplish, as it was driven entirely through the timber and was as fast and hard as if it were part and parcel of the barge. Axes were brought, and the gunwale chopped down on either side, and the piece containing the splinter split off. An examination showed the splinter to be 4 feet long and undoubtedly a piece of the monster's bill.
Well, Jesus, a part of the bill being 4 foot of the bill. I mean, it lost half its fucking bill. If you remember
you're right.
If you remember the size of this thing, the description of the bill. I mean, that's a huge chunk of it.
No, this thing.
I don't know how bill does that shit grow back? Like, is it like a toenail, but like on your face? Like, what the fuck happens?
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I don't know if it's part of a beak. No, if it's like a marlin's, pointy cartilage spike. I don't think so. Though again, I'm not an expert. I don't think it's like a king crab's. No, I don't know king crab, but like a fiddler crab's arm. It might be though. So I just don't know the anatomy of this thing. I don't know how it works.
This thing could have very well just fucked its face completely for the rest of its life because it attacked a coal barge
that it hated, or maybe
for no reason,
or maybe it was just Henry Decker was the point of the goddamn attack.
Oh, maybe it was the old Decker family curse came back to get him. The old Decker family curse here.
Oh my God, selling that
here to
like
get
peanuts. It's good. Family curse here.
Got the family curse here from the Decker.
Three German curse. Family curse. Oh my fucking
Pepperidge
God.
Farms remembers the curse.
The Decker curse.
At this point, I'm just biting what Chris would do.
I know.
I miss him so much.
We're trying to fill the Chris gap. That's all we can do. We know we're missing essential limbs here. Guys, we're doing the best we can.
All right, so we have a 4 foot piece of the beak. All right, fucking evidence. Keep that shit. Pass it down. There you go. Give it to a scientist.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly how it's going to work. That's exactly how it always works. Yeah. I say with no sarcasm.
They threw it back into the Mississippi because they don't give a shit.
You know what? Fucking Caraway turned it into a family back scratcher that was lost a generation down the line. It's fucking never goes, or if it goes to the Smithsonian, it disappears into their black hole like basement, never to be fucking seen again. Like giant
when
bones.
If he loses his leg down the road, he turns it into his fucking peg leg. Like
could you imagine?
Ahab. Yeah,
that's Ahab
dude.
As fuck.
Fuck yeah. Oh, man. Or he turns it into a sweet sword. He turns it into a sword, and then he's a pirate on the Mississippi.
And then he just duels everyone he can so he can lance him with the monster's beak.
Yeah. And then the fucking curse is broken. Fuck yeah. Break the curse.
Is broken.
Fuck yeah.
Oh. At one end, it was 12 inches broad, gradually sloping until it reached a sharp point. It was quite thin and looked as if it might be a mere outward covering for the end of the lower part of the bill. I'm not even sure what the hell that means. It was neither horn nor bone, but appeared more like ivory. Tusk, maybe? Maybe you weren't far off with the old narwhal. And I mean, I know a narwhal, it's a tooth, but Though almost as tough and hard as steel. Oh, it's going to be his dueling apparatus. It's going to be his like fake leg that he detaches to duel. It's going to be fucking awesome. In color, this is an interesting note, even though it's ivory-like, so I'm assuming white. It was dark green and brown, mixed and varied. The larger end was almost black.
Huh, weird.
That is odd.
Strange coloring.
The piece weighed 18 pounds. This heavy weight showing the unusual compactness of the materials composing the beak.
Weird.
An hour was spent at the wreck. And, first off, an hour at the wreck, you got to give them mad props for, you just got attacked by a sea monster. Decker almost bit it. The fucking ship is practically sunk. And you're taking time to salvage whatever coal that's on there when you already have barges of other coal. I would have done everything in my power to get to land, fucking immediately. And all they're doing is just, they're working it like fucking dancers. So God bless them.
Well, yeah, I mean, they still got a job to do. You got to finish it up, dude.
Men of the Mississippi. By way of Maine or wherever fucking whalers lived.
Fucking Axl Rose once said, when you got a job to do, you got to do it well.
Oh.
That may have been the Beatles, though. I don't know. It could have been either or.
No, it's Live and Let Die. Yeah, that's definitely not fucking... You cannot give credit to him. No.
His version was better. Oh, controversial statement from Mark Storrs.
Oh, my God. Give the other fella hell. Okay. So... An hour was spent at the wreck when Captain Caraway, seeing that the coal was a total loss and the barge in such a condition that he could do nothing then to save it, steamed on. So eventually, nothing we can do. Reaching Memphis about 9 o'clock at night, where he related his strange adventure and exhibited the splinter from the monster's bill. Of course, the majority of people are skeptical about stories relating to monsters, and many were incredulous. But those who knew Captain Caraway felt certain that whatever he might relate could be depended on as truthful in every respect. So he's a man of a solid reputation.
Okay.
There certainly cannot be longer doubt that the Mississippi is inhabited with a monster that not only ranks in horrid proportions with the fabled creatures of fiction, all of them, whatever they may be, but one that may do much to interfere with free and uninterrupted commerce on the great river. As always, America, first and foremost, it is capitalism. Do not fuck with our free commerce on the great mighty Miss. Of a bitch
dude,
monster.
We have a problem with economics here, dude. Like, if we had Big Feet intercepting fucking Amazon Prime packages, do you think Jeff Bezos would stand for that?
He would not.
There'd be a Bigfoot hunting squad.
Oh no, there'd be armed drones in the Pacific Northwest
looking for the Big Feet taking your fucking Amazon Prime packages.
Oh,
I'm not even getting my
pissed.
toys
if they
on
were
time.
Porch stealing. Oh, it'd be like you said. It's not even fruit. It's not even honeycomb. Even though our buddy Lisa ordered honeycomb through Amazon, which I thought, wow, we really are living in a truly glorious era. But
I mean, I've ordered toilet paper and food from Amazon.
You know what honeycomb is? Nature's bubblegum. It's delicious to chew. It's like those old wax lips, but honeyed. It's actually
so you can order old timey shit that nobody likes on Amazon. Cool.
Well, Lisa and I liked it. I mean, other
people.
People like honey, so it's not like that's a rare thing.
I don't know, man. Whatever, it's cool. But anyway,
now, if I start ordering reams of blackjack gum, then you can tell me about ordering old timey shit that no one but me likes, and I love blackjack gum. I love black licorice.
When Mothman is interrupting the fucking USPS, there's going to be a problem.
Always.
Okay. And they're correct with this, that this fucking animal is on the fucking, river destroying coal barges. I mean, and coal's their fuel for everything because
in 1877, it's a total coal-based economy.
We're giving them shit like it's their fault. Like, got your fucking coal. Brr. That's all they knew.
I'm not giving them a hard time.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be judgmental. I don't want to judge. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. I get it.
I mean, everyone thought the atmosphere was forever back then. Hell, most people thought it was forever in 1957. You can't fault them. Yeah. It is undeniable that among rivermen there is a feeling of insecurity. And it has been suggested that the matter is of such importance that an expedition ought to be organized under government management, Big G, to hunt down and annihilate the Leviathan. Wow.
Do we have a monster hunt on our hands?
hunt down and annihilate. That's not even like destroy. It's not kill. It's not somehow incapacitate.
No.
That's brutal.
You got to blow it up. You got to strap dynamite to it and fucking light that fuse and blow it up in the water. Does that work? Right? It'll work.
It'll work. Yeah. Sure, it'll work. The New Madrid Gazette, from which place the Globe Democrat published a special dispatch concerning exploits of the monster, of Wednesday, says that a number of valuable horses and cattle were mysteriously destroyed while the monster haunted that part of the river.
Dude, just like with the Brindle bull, it went to land. This thing was in the Mississippi, then it fucking took to the land and was like, I'm hungry. And then it devours shit. Oh, dude, this thing's fucked.
If you fuck with coal and cows, you are literally destroying the fabric of America.
Yeah, I mean, this is
a traitorous dragon, Leviathan of the deeps. Now, granted, the one that attacked the Brindle bull didn't seem to have a nose harpoon, but in all fairness, it was broken off in the ship. So,
dude, I was just thinking about that when this thing showed up to fight the bull, the prized bull, dude.
But neither
it was gone.
Neither
it was in the fucking gun wall.
Caraway or Decker or any of the other presumed eyewitnesses claim to have seen wings on the back of said Mississippi monster. So
but it was in the water, though.
With two separate cryptids here.
They didn't see it out of the water.
That's true. The wings, maybe the wings were maybe they serve dual purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not hell or space. Maybe it's Mississippi or oxygen. That doesn't catch. That really does not catch fire.
That's not going to be on our new merch.
That will never be on merchandise. No. Yeah, Mississippi or oxygen is not a go. But I still throw the theory out there. Maybe it serves a dual purpose. If I ever see a seal fly, I mean, it's 15 feet on either side of an allegedly serpentine monster. A snake could fly like that.
That's terrible.
I know it's horrible.
It's terrible.
Mississippi or air. It's fucking horrible. Okay.
Yeah, it's god awful.
No less than 3 boats on top of these, missing horses and cattle. No less than 3 boats were overturned and 1 skiff shattered and its occupant drowned. At least it wasn't eaten, but dead. So it's tragic either way.
Yeah, that sucks.
The Vicksburg Pilot publishes an interview with Captain Cuthbert of the Ohio River Trade, in which the captain states that at a point 10 miles above Henderson, the monster attacked a flatboat, overturning the boat and throwing the ferryman and 2 passengers and their horses into the river. So it's a rampage. It's a full-on fucking rampage at this point.
So it went up the Mississippi to the Ohio River?
No, not necessarily. He is of the Ohio River Trade, which might be a company. Sorry.
It's my fault. I was like, man, this thing is going cross country.
Yeah, no, I know exactly. He's on a world fucking tour. It's awesome.
Really, Jesus Christ. Okay, all right. So he's fucking up more shit. Wow, this thing hates everything. All right, cool.
One of the men was drowned, and the monster devoured one of the horses. So I'd like to know what a more there was an excellent description of fucking Caraway and his men and the dealing with this monster in the boat. But when you see a horse devoured, does it mean the carcass washed up later and you saw pieces missing? Or are you watching this thing fucking take hunks out?
Dude, so this thing has a fucking body count.
Oh, huge.
1 horse and 1 man. Well, multiple animals, 1 man.
And it may be multiple monsters attacking multiple men and animals.
Could be, but I got a feeling this might be the same fucking one, man. This could be it.
Okay. The last section of this St. Louis Globe and Democrat article that was republished in Mr. Benedict's fine tome is titled "The Monster Heard From Again." And this is how it goes. Memphis, Tennessee, September 20th. I'm assuming 1877 still, though that might make it earlier. I don't know. A report was current yesterday morning that the river monster, which attacked Captain Caraway's barges, had been seen to pass the Memphis wharf, though as the rumor could not be traced to a positive and reliable source, it was generally discredited. I kind of like that. So there's been some press, even though the dates are a little obtuse right now, and the fact that they didn't have what at least the reporters considered to be a reliable source, they're disparaging it right openly in the publication. Again, that doesn't guarantee what transpired is true, but I like that because that really seems like at least a hint of journalistic integrity. Okay.
They could be creating their own integrity by doing that, though, as well.
Yeah, you're right. They could be playing the long con. You can't deny that. I mean, human deceptive abilities run deep and cold and are dark, but let's try to have a little hint of hope that there might be some, honesty in some people in the 1800s.
Okay.
A courier just in from Flanois, landing, 15 miles below here and 3 miles below President's Island, brings intelligence that it was seen to pass that point at 4:00 this afternoon, and that it was traveling at a furious rate down the river, with its head high in the air and bellowing so loud that it was plainly heard a mile away. No more damage was done by it. What'd you say?
It's a celebration. It's a celebration. It's celebrating its fucking victory. Like, I fucked you up. Fuck you.
And it ends with no more damage was done by it so far as could be learned. So,
okay.
There's a lot of angles in this. I mean, we know that journalism was not at its highest point of integrity.
As a matter of fact, they had to sell papers.
Late 1800s.
This would make me buy a paper.
Are you kidding me? Hell yes. I would buy all the papers for this.
So I guess we could say, all right, we could obviously, there's the yellow journalism angle, which is always a possibility from the 1800s because it's questionable. It could be a really wild incident with a tree, or it's a monster. So liars, trees, or monsters, take your pick.
All right. If you want to cut and dry it. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Here's what I would say. If there is indeed, all right, if it's a lie, let's take that. Let's just own that, take the bull by the horns. If it is a lie, then it is almost certainly completely manufactured by whomever wrote the article.
It's a great tale.
It's a great tale. Well written. This motherfucker, he could have been the Edgar Allan Poe, but he didn't. He decided to fucking turn to journalism to make a buck instead of fiction, because this ranks right up there with like Bradbury's, whatever the short story was, that was a great short story about the monster attacking the lighthouse that became the beast from 20,000 Fathoms and then begat Godzilla and whatnot. So it's a lie. It's a pure lie, and there's no Captain Carraway, and there's no the German Henry Decker who, escaped his life.
Let's not forget Matheson, the guy that originally
reported it.
Yeah, so he was just like, I got a tale to tell. Here's my tale.
And who the fuck was he, and where did he come from?
Exactly. So what the fuck was his? I thought he was one of the guys in the boats. I got all excited.
He might have been.
Like,
for all we know, he might have been. But that would be
He
weird
was never mentioned.
He wasn't
on the fucking barge.
It's odd.
Okay.
He might have been one of the guys that Captain Carraway reported it to. So
could have been.
All right. So it's complete fiction conjured by a writer looking to sell papers. Boom. But if there is a real Captain Carraway, and that's probably something vettable, that's something that should be there, maybe either in the whaling records of some other state or the Mississippi records. I don't know who keeps, I don't even know if they're called maritime if they're on a river, but the riverboat records. And maybe someone out there much more industrious than us will look and maybe will know. But if he's real, to make up a story like this would not behoove you, because just like in the 20th century and now the 21st century, even though certainly things are opening up in terms of people being able to report UFOs and more people being open-minded about it, especially if you're somebody of integrity, like an Air Force pilot or something, but you still get a ration of shit. And back then you would get mad rations of shit. Now, maybe people were more likely than not to believe in weird things, but there were still skeptics. And if you want to be trusted to pilot a riverboat and to bring people's cargo, and that's how you make a living, you don't want to be known as that guy that either A, is a drunkard and makes up shit, B, is a liar and makes up shit, or C, is, prone to fits of overreacting to stumps. You want to be known as a reliable dude that will get your cargo there on time.
So he's just a hammered riverboat captain who saw a stump and things got out of control. Like one thing after another, it just got really bad.
It rammed a barge. Henry Decker barely got off. He's like, it attacked. It had a pelican beak and a swordfish nose and floppy ears.
bitch, and he's just kicking the fucking coal barge. Like, God damn it, destroying the environment. It'll happen one day. Don't worry. All right, or conversely, I mean, obviously, yes, we could be dealing with lies, embellishments, fucking crazy, awesome Mississippi River stories, which if that's the case, I mean, it's still fucking cool as shit to read. So even if it's a complete fucking lie, it's a great story.
Agreed. But I don't necessarily think it is. And the reason I don't is because, yes, lies can spread, and we know, and yellow journalism is yellow journalism. So if we just for the time take apart or separate the idea that it was a newspaper line, that the St. Louis Globe and Democrat didn't have reporters that were told by editors to make some crazy shit up because it's a real slow news week here and fucking make it happen. Multiple eyewitnesses are seeing something. And if it is something, I think let's start looking at it from a cryptozoological perspective, not like something metaphysical, not something supernatural, but just as a creature. It's absolutely not something that could be indigenous to the Mississippi, because it would have been seen before. It would be seen many times after. And by all accounts, it seems to be one, like you were saying earlier, one creature that fits no description.
If it was traveling through the area, I mean, it is connected to the ocean. So if this thing just happened to fucking slop itself out of the ocean and go up the Mississippi completely out of its natural environment, then yeah, I could totally see why it would be attacking barges and drowning men and eating fucking calves and all kinds of shit.
Well, I get the eating calves and horses. Especially because it wasn't very clear. It was said it was somewhere near the Mississippi. If they were like trying to cross them, I don't know if they did major. Mississippi would seem to be too big, so I don't think they were necessarily trying to cross cattle. Though I don't know. I have no idea how they do it, but I know certain smaller waterways they try to if it's a. What the fuck do they call it when you're moving a herd from one place to another? The goddamn movie City Slickers was based on.
When you're wrangling?
No, the cattle rustlers come get. What the fuck's it called? Moving a herd. Jesus Christ.
I got a buddy. I have a friend that does that out in like Montana on a fucking a range or a ranch.
New York idiots. But anyway, moving a herd from one place to another, sometimes you got to cross bodies of water. If indeed that was happening and they were getting picked off, that's something reasonable, though. Again, the Mississippi's pretty fucking big, so I don't know if you do that.
Or if this thing's in the Mississippi and it obviously left because it fought the fucking Brindle Bull at one point, like if it's just in the water, it's like, oh, by the way, I can go on fucking land. Fuck you. Here I come. If it's on land and it just happens to see, horses or cows and it's going to mange on them, then that's just what it's going to do. It clearly, I mean, if this is the same creature that fought the bull, then it's a land and
which I think is pretty
animal.
Shaky, honestly. They didn't. I mean, besides my joking speculation that wings also serve as flippers, and who knows, fucking. I mean, it doesn't really happen.
It does match up, though. I mean, it's kind of bizarre that it's two different. I know that it just seems kind of weird that it'd be two different animals. Yeah,
but that was more like a crocodile with wings and a club tail. This is a weird pelican bulldog with a super long neck and fucking massive flippers.
From the 1800s description, yeah. I mean, but there's
but I mean, they still had eyes in the 1800s. They were still intelligent human beings.
They're it was questionable.
Oh, we can't disparage a whole era just because they had less technology.
Well,
All right, but what we have to be in agreement on, I would think, is that this is not indigenous to the Mississippi. This must have come. If it is real and it is bona fidely biological, it has to have hailed from the ocean, and it had to have either gotten lost or was following prey.
Yeah,
well, and decided to go upriver for greener pastures. And if it's an air breather, I mean, I know some bull sharks and other things can not only live in salt and brackish, but also survive in fresh water. And, obviously that super notorious case in New Jersey and other cases around the world where a bull goes way upstream and devours the fuck out of the local populace. It's not unheard of, but this is something that with a beak and the ability to spout huge oblique angles of water is probably an air breather. So it wouldn't have any limitation in the bodies of water it can travel through.
Yeah, totally.
This to me seems like a rogue animal of an unclassified sort that is obviously carnivorous, maybe omnivorous, and it went up there and I don't know why it made a beeline towards a coal ship. I don't think it's like Dagora, to make a really obscure reference to Japanese fiction, where it was eating coal and diamonds because that's something it thrived on. I think that for whatever reason, it felt this boat and this barge being hauled by the towboat was a threat and just said, fuck it. Or maybe it was trying to get at the people, which would actually make good, meaty prey. But this thing really seems like if it is real, an ocean-going marine animal that could breathe in the ocean and do whatever the fuck it wants to do and not be seen that often, but come up here and do some very serious damage. I do not associate it with the Brindle Bull incident because to me, the thought that this thing could fly. I mean, something this size with a 4 to 5 foot wide head and a 10-foot long prong nose, or at least used to have, and 15-foot flippers does not strike me as an airborne anomaly.
Okay, so maybe there was more than one of these creatures in the area at the time, and or quite possibly the yellow journalism just continued and they were playing off of each other's descriptions of lies.
It is a phenomenal story, but just because someone's a good writer doesn't mean it's a lie.
Lies.
What do you think, Mark? I'm going to take your role here. What do you think this is?
I'm definitely, I think that it's kind of an awful lot to make up a lie like that, because you're putting out names. You put out Matheson's address, for Christ's sakes. So
yeah, it's true.
I mean, that's an indication right there to be like, oh, there's probably something here. I think maybe quite possibly we could be dealing with some sort of creature that either, like you said, for food, maybe it's food source or whatever. It just happened to follow up the Mississippi and make its way inland, which I'd be curious to know. I mean, obviously the Brindle Bull one, we're not going to agree on that. I think it was tied to that because it just seems kind of a coincidence. But I wonder if is there any other thing, anything else? This thing would have been seen throughout the lands and reported on constantly.
All right,
it's not just gonna stick to the woods.
Let me do this here. I'm going back to my Brindle Bull notes here. Raising its head still higher, it shot forward over the fence, then over it in swift billow undulations. The fence seemed no obstacle at all. As the animal entered the field, its whole body could be distinctly seen. The great neck terminated in a body of somewhat less bulk, supported by short legs and arms,
which they didn't see in the water,
with sharp claws. The motions of the animal resembled rather those of a snake. To the body was a jointed tail quite as long as the neck, terminating in a huge barb, hard as apparently iron, and having a bright red color of a boiled lobster. The neck and entire body were sheathed in scales, that is similar, of a dark blue color, but what's interesting is that what Carraway and others described was burnished scales that seemed to reflect different colors the way the lights were hitting it. So this could be the same as this, as large as dinner plates in the Brindle Bull case. Most remarkable of all was a pair of huge membranous wings, which were folded along the body on either side. The giant reptile was indescribably fearful and repulsive as it moved toward the bull, hissing loudly.
Okay.
I don't feel like we're dealing with the description of the same creature. You don't have a jagged point broken off. You don't have a pelican beak. You don't have a bulldog face. You have membranous wings, which are decidedly bat-like, which may be like the flippers, but I do think that.
I mean, yeah, if you think about it, it could totally be the flippers. Because if you had wings that for some reason you could use in the water as flippers, which would be weird, and I don't know if that's how fucking anatomy works.
That is not how it works. I mean, birds dive into the ocean to get their fish, and they just go straight down and then come back up. Penguins can't fucking fly. So it's either usually one or the other. I'm not saying that nothing that flies has never been able to use said wings as flippers. And flying fish, I guess, are a great example of flippers that can be used as wings, or at least gliders. It's possible, but it's not common.
So I guess if this thing didn't manage to work itself up the Mississippi, there would probably, I'm assuming, besides the two stories we have, one which might not completely be tied to it, be more, tales or stories. This thing must have left a trail of carnage wherever it went. I mean, at least tracks, for the love of God.
Oh yeah,
it's huge.
It would have to do something. The thing, for the sake of just discussion, let's separate what we're talking about now: the Mississippi monster from the Cahokia dragon.
Yeah,
the Mississippi monster is alleged to have killed cattle and horses and drowned seamen, though not necessarily sailors, but not necessarily eaten them.
Right.
But it's got a very distinct visage. It seems mammalian, but it is described constantly as a reptile. And again, you don't know if that is the inexperience of a journal. And a journalist isn't necessarily a scientist, and a journalist in 1877 is almost certainly not going to be expected to know, but scales indicate a reptile. Wings don't. This is like a clusterfuck. This is a Brindle fly amalgamation. It's a chimera of all sorts of different shit, which again would make skeptics go, and that's why it's a fucking pile of bullshit. But what makes me go, yes, but just because an inexperienced eye, I mean, these fucking barge sailors aren't necessarily qualified fucking zoologists or biologists by any stretch of the imagination. They just know the animals they encounter and they're doing their fucking job. But they know when they get attacked, and they know how to describe something that looks like a beak, and they know how to describe a face that looks like a bulldog, and they know how to describe giant flippers. And they're just describing some shit that made their day's work that much harder and their life that much more terrifying, because the next time you go on a fucking boat on the Mississippi, it's hard enough work fucking hauling coal. It's got to be terrifying to think, and this shit is, where's my bonus pay for dealing with fucking lake and river
where's my
monsters?
hazard pay, God damn it. All right, well, I think we're both in agreement that this thing, it probably came from the ocean. It came up, it hung out, it caused some fucking chaos, and then God knows where it went. Maybe it went to Canada. Who knows? Maybe it's in Russia. Maybe right now it's in Russia. Who knows? It could be fucking anywhere. But yeah, that's a great tale, regardless of whether it's
it's beautifully written. I mean,
yellow journalism,
regardless, the journalism of that period is great. And again, a big shout out to Adam Benedict for collecting these stories, because I mean, it's a nonstop cavalcade, and we'll do more now. And it's nice to read it from the original account too. As much as I love writing things and like trying to get additional information, doing whatever, I mean, research has always been my jam. It is beautiful to read this, and I wish it was credited the author. I mean, just the sentence structure, the use of adjectives is just, it's a beautiful piece of writing, like you said a few times, regardless of its veracity. But I'm still intrigued by the idea that this might be, even if it's embellished a little bit, even if the fucking beak was only 5 feet long and the fins were only 8.5 feet long, and these people were terrified, as they ought to be, and didn't know what the fuck was going on, as who would, things got a little bigger in their mind's eye. But I think there might be a grain of truth to what's going on. And even though we don't see it very often, one rogue gets lost up the fucking Mississippi River, you're not necessarily going to have a huge biological and or anecdotal record of these things. It could be just a one-shot deal. And so I'm really intrigued by that perspective. And I do think that there might be something to it, because the description of the destruction and is the captain going to swear all of his people to lie for him? Like, all right, we lost the barge, we're drunk and fucked. It's a lot of coal.
I didn't think about that angle.
Everybody taking
up a lie.
Decker, you're wet. You fell.
Don't break the oath. There it is.
It's the fucking monster. It's the Mississippi monster. It's the Heironymous. Everyone gets to pick a piece. What? Face like a pelican? You're an idiot, Dave. You're a fucking idiot. Dude, it doesn't fit, but everyone gets one. So go.
Dude, think about it, man. You're out on Owasco Lake with your boys. You stole your dad's pontoon for the day. You're fucking drinking. You end up hitting another boat. You're like, dude, we got to fucking stay together like bros. It was a fucking sea monster, and fucking Ted almost bit it. Which still makes for a great story, honestly, regardless of whether or not. I mean, apparently this is some old-timey tale here that just fucking is intriguing and awesome. Also, too, remember, if you would like to check out more of these tales, they are available in Monsters in Print by Mr. Adam Benedict, a collection of curious creatures mostly known from newspapers that is available on Amazon Prime. Be sure to check that out. And thank you so very much, Adam, for your research for this awesome book. And we appreciate it. So I think there it is, Robert. We fucking closed it out. We did it.
We read a story. We talked about a story.
The Mississippi monster.
We got through without Chris, but barely. He's missed. His pithy observations and his eye rolling. It's just not the same without it.
I mean, I was going to toss out the idea of a tulpa, because he would.
Yeah.
But
no, he would. No, I'll pretend to be Chris now. these people are obviously terrified by its antics, and monsters or any biological creatures don't eat coal. Ergo, and this is me being Chris 100%, and Chris, I hope you enjoy it when you hear this. It has to be an ultra-terrestrial trying to elicit terror from said sailors by becoming the monster of their nightmares and destroying a coal barge that it really has no use to do. So as Chris Carnicelli, me, it is clearly an ultra-terrestrial that is manifestly a tulpa at the same time from another dimension. I'm Chris Carnicelli.
Thank you, Christopher. You are missed, and thankfully you and I can both agree that it came from
it's
the
funny,
sea.
the one time Chris isn't here, we don't go metaphysical at all.
I know, exactly. I was going to toss an interdimensional, but I didn't toss an interdimensional because Chris isn't here to enjoy it and be disappointed in me. Also, too, not only is Monsters in Print available for Mr. Adam Benedict, but coming out in October of 2020, Ghosts in Print, an assemblage of spirits, spooks, and specters from newspapers of old. Be sure to check that out. And again, Adam's work is available at the pinebaronsinstitute.com. Go check that out. Follow him on the socials. Also, too, you can follow us on the socials, the Instas, the Twitters, and the Facebooks. As mentioned in the beginning of this episode, check out our Facebook fan group. It's a good time. Everyone there is super cool.
It's the coolest community of motherfuckers I have ever encountered. They're really awesome.
Totally. And shout outs to our mod admins over there that hold shit down for us because we're not there all the time. We appreciate it. And it is a group that was formed by fans for fans. So we don't really have much to do with it other than we stop in and, say hi and see what's up and like and comment.
And enjoy how awesome fucking everybody is.
Totally. Heatherspace.com. Get yourself some merch. There, I don't know about sales, but there we do have a code on Patreon, so you can check that out on patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout out, $5 is a shout out, and some bonus audio. This is being recorded on August 1st, so we have to get some Patreon episodes done, Robert.
Yes, we do.
So let's talk about that when we are done recording.
That's actually a really good plan.
Let's figure that out.
Absolutely.
And yes, hopefully the next time you hear us, we will be with Chris in person in our new recording area. I know we said we were going to do it this week, but unfortunately, Christopher still sounds like shit and
Poor
trash
guy.
And shit rolled in poop. So there you go.
Yeah, no, we're going to be getting back to researched, full-on pods in person, which is mind-boggling. It's really blowing my fucking mind.
Together.
So I cannot wait to do this.
We might have one more listener story episode, which would be number 10. We're not sure yet. I think we're going to do that, but we're going to figure that out next week when we get together to record.
That would be nice. It would be nice to end what has been a great summer and spring segue, because these stories are fucking phenomenal, and then move on to the old school research pods.
We'll go back to that, because we have a ton of stories. We'll go back.
Oh,
to that
so many. We had a chance to build up a huge catalog, so it's going to be great.
So there you have it. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Thank you thank you so much to our new listeners.
Hell yeah!
Thank you so very much. If you want to leave a review on iTunes, you can do that. It's great. We got a couple of new ones on there. That's pretty dope.
And we are stoked to get, speaking to our new listeners, Scott and Forrest over here to, as Mark would say, white trash it up with us on the wrong side of the tracks and get a little down and dirty. It'll be fun. We're planning that. Hopefully, maybe in early autumn, late summer.
Yeah, hopefully we can talk to them, get them over here. And we have a couple other people that we got to get on soon too. So we're going to get all those logistics figured out. We need a booker. That's what we need, is someone to schedule.
We don't have unpaid interns. We certainly don't have employees.
No.
We have the three of us barely scraping by, negotiating our way through real life and doing the best we can. And we really appreciate all of the motherfucking patience all of our listeners have for
it's mostly just me losing my patience with you and Chris.
That's true.
So it's just me bitching at you guys.
Yeah, you do lose your fucking mind.
Okay, though.
But legitimately so, and with good reason.
Hey. Yeah, but you know what? That's what friendship is.
100%.
Yelling at someone and then immediately apologizing, saying, "I'm sorry, I love you. I love you, I'm sorry." That's so what true. It is. There it is.
Oh, that is. Love isn't never having to say you're sorry. Love is being willing to constantly say you're sorry. That is 100% the real definition.
Always say you're sorry. That's what I say.
Not saying you're sorry is a sign of no love. That's
you always say you're sorry. There
That's
you
it.
go.
That's
I'm
love.
constantly apologizing to my wife, my kids, my parents, my brother, my sister, you, Chris, constantly. I'm just a wreck. There it is.
Yeah, no.
There you
As
go.
living shit shows, that is a sign of love, and I'm on the same boat with you, buddy. And hopefully we won't get attacked on the Mississippi River in our boat of angst and fucking creative indifference.
Oh, yeah. The coal is just our collective depression.
Oh my God, it's a metaphor. Caraway was writing about his heart the whole time.
Oh, son of a bitch, we figured it out. All right, thank y'all so very much for joining us, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Goodbye, friends.
Real quick, on an ending note here, I would just like to say that I do know that Live and Let Die was not a Beatles song. It was actually a Wings song.
Oh,
so,
all right, good for you. See, I didn't know that. I knew Paul McCartney sang it, but I had no idea. I also knew it was obviously the theme song for a James Bond film.
I have been hanging on to that Wings reference since I erroneously said that it was the Beatles. Furthermore, Black Sabbath is better than the Beatles.
Well, duh.
And Wings.
That goes without saying.
There you go. We'll be talking to you soon.
Oh my God. Roxette is better than Wings, dude. I mean, you're not saying anything here.
And goodbye.
Goodbye, Roxette fans.